Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda and today I have for you my TBR for the Winter 2018 Biannual Bibliothon. This is my first time participating in the Biannual Bibliothon, and it's actually my first time participating in any readathon, both on BookTube and just in real life. I guess unless you count my summer library reading challenges, but I always just did that for the free books. So this is my list. I'm gonna leave a link to the pre-readathon video that the group that are hosting this readathon did yesterday down below in the comments or description. It's got all the information you're gonna need. So there's 7 different reading challenges, as well as I believe 7 different video challenges, one for each day. There's also going to be Instagram challenges and blog challenges, I believe. So that video is gonna have all the information you're gonna need about every little piece. I think I'm just gonna do the reading challenge because I haven't pre-filmed anything. So yeah, this is just going to be my TBR. Bibliothon runs from the 20th of January until the 26th, and the discussion for the group book, which is one of the reading challenges, is going to be held on the 27th, and the group is just going to do a live show for that. So the challenges and what books I'm going to read for each one, I have 5 books planned. You can double up on books for a challenge, but you shouldn't triple up. Basically, just as long as you're spending time with books, I don't think anyone's really going to fault you for that. So the first challenge is to read the group book. The group book for this challenge is Otherworld by Jason Segel and Kirsten Miller. For all of these books, I'm going to leave the Goodreads link down below so you can look at the description. That way I don't have to give a description every time and be wrong. But I'm really intrigued by this book. I used my Audible credit for January to purchase it because as soon as I heard, I think Emma Books was the first one I heard talking about this. As soon as I heard her talking about this, it reminded me of Ready Player One with some different elements. And Ready Player One was my absolute favorite read from last year. So I'm really excited to read this. Got it downloaded and ready to go. This is what the title looks like. Hopefully you can see that well enough. There we go. So I plan to listen to that on audiobook. The next challenge is to read a backless title. This is another book that I plan to listen to on audiobook. Can't really see it, but it's Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. I've tried to read this book once. I've tried to listen to it once. I've never been able to get through it, but I'm hoping this is the last shot I'm going to give it, and I'm going to do it. I don't know why I want to listen to it or read it, other than it's a classic. It's a Russian classic, and it's just one that I feel like should be in my have-read reading repertoire. So that's what I'm going to listen to for a backlist title. For this category, the group is deeming that a backlist title is anything published before 2017. If I don't end up making it through that, I have 2 other options. Both are middle grade books. So the first one is James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. And the other one is Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. So both of these, I believe, are under 200 pages or right around 200 pages. So if I don't make it through Crime and Punishment, those are going to be my go-tos. The third challenge is to read a sequel. So for this one, I plan to read, I have a bind-up of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. So I plan to read Through the Looking Glass as my sequel. If I don't make it through the Looking Glass, I am going to read A Wind in the Door by Madeleine L'Engle. So this is the second book in the Wrinkle in Time series. Another middle grade small book. Not very big print, but kind of big print. Easy to get through. I'm curious to see where the story goes, so it's something I would be interested in picking up if I don't make it through Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and on to Through the Looking Glass. For challenge number 4, it's to read a book in another form of media. So whether it is another book, TV show, movie, play, anything like that. I think a lot of people are using the list from Gilmore Girls. I think there's something like 339 titles that Rory mentions in the show. So for that, I'm also planning to use Crime and Punishment. So that's my first book that I'm planning to double dip in 2 different reading challenges. I don't have a backup if I don't get through that, though I know there's plenty of books out there that have been mentioned in other forms of media. But I'm kind of using that as my driving factor to listen through to the end of Crime and Punishment. All right, so challenge number 5 is to read a book under 200 pages. This is where Alice's Adventures in Wonderland comes in. This edition is only like 102 pages. There's quite a few illustrations and things. So, and I've actually never read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, so this is a book that I look forward to getting through. I bought it last year through Thrift Books, and I think it was only like $3. So that's what I plan to read as my book under 200 pages, but if I just, I guess, decide to nix Alice in Wonderland as a whole, I plan to read Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. So this is the first book in the Wayward Children series. I have all 3 books now, and I am ready and excited to get through them because I've heard people rave about them a lot. So I really do want to get to these, but I don't know if that'll be this readathon or if it'll be later in the year. Challenge number 6 is to read a book you know nothing about. I guess I'm kind of cheating for this because I've watched a couple of the Biannual Bibliothon TBRs by now, so I've heard a couple people explain the synopsis of Otherworld, but I hadn't ever heard of it until a couple days ago, so I'm going to use that as a book I know nothing about. I'm confident that I'm going to get through it, but if for some reason I don't, I also actually don't know anything about Through the Looking Glass. I don't know if I were to use this as a book I know nothing about, if that would count as triple dipping, because it's technically one bind up, but it's 2 different stories, so I don't know. But I'm going to plan to use Otherworld for that challenge. And challenge number 7 is to read a book that deals with mental illness. So for this one, I am going to read, this is my biggest book, but it's a young adult contemporary book. It's Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I believe the mental illness representation in this book is anxiety. So, and I've heard a lot of good things about it as well. So it's a book that I'm interested in getting into. It's got kind of an interesting setup. The main character writes fan fiction, or excuse me, no, she doesn't. She has a webcomic that's very popular, and a boy comes to her school who writes fan fiction for her comic. So it's got kind of an interesting setup where it's not just all text. There's some parts where it's like instant messaging setup. There's also pictures. So even though it's kind of a big book, it's just under 400 pages, it should be a pretty easy read, and I'm excited to get through it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my plan for my final TBR for this. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is hailing extremely hard right now while I'm filming this. But anyway, to wrap up my TBR, the three physical books I want to read are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass and Eliza and Her Monsters. And then the 2 audiobooks I plan to listen to are Otherworld and Crime and Punishment. I don't know if I'm going to plan to do daily vlogs. I might try it and might abandon it halfway. We shall see. It's kind of all up in the air, and it'll be a surprise for both you and me. If you're interested in participating in this Bibliothon, I would love to know what your TBR is, also maybe the book you're most excited about. So if you so feel inclined, please leave that in the comments. And until then, I guess probably the end, if I decide not to do daily vlogs, I'll do a wrap up at the end of this and I'll show you my progress and how far I've made it. So until then, I will talk to you in the comments. Bye.